I
So
like it.
I'm just
It seems like Bobby Puff.
I just had to you know what,
It smells delicious.
we're gonna go. I have this piece recorded, so we're gonna go from here. So I do, since I lost track, there is something I want to bring up, and I think this is gonna bring up a nice little debate. So
Okay.
Jay and Sean,
Jesus Christ.
Sean, you've just started playing Cold War.
Yes, sir.
We had a little talk about this before this, we started up, and
Yeah. Would you like me to reiterate what I stated prior to
sure.
this? Okay. Well, I keep in mind what I said about trendiness. I kind of avoided Cold War, but largely in part to Jay's recommendation that it's this and it's that and blah blah blah. Well, I fucking love it, and I think it's great. I think it's better than what we were playing, Warzone, all that, whatever. I love it, man. I think it's a lot like Modern Warfare 2, which I really liked. I liked the engine, whatever graphics. Well, I don't know, whatever. It was awesome. The way that you can see the maps, the way that you interact when you shoot, thought it was great. So, Jay, you're wrong. It's not a difference of opinion. You're just wrong.
Okay.
You're just wrong, motherfucker.
I mean, okay. That's your opinion. It's worth about as much as mine. So there you go.
Mine's worth
He's
more.
saying that's facts, no cap.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean that's if people buy a game and they enjoy the game, you're not going to hear me say like they're wrong for enjoying a game. My gripe about Activision and Modern Warfare has not much to do with Cold War, other than the franchise trying to push people to Cold War who were still into Modern Warfare. That's been my gripe the whole time. So I mean,
how they're trying to incorporate and cross.
I mean, but I'm not gonna spend my money on it, and I fucking stopped playing Modern Warfare a couple months ago. So I mean, that's kind of old news.
His original gripe was when they were trying to make bring Cold War into Modern Warfare. Is I think what his original gripe was at first, before Cold War came out, they had like that little preview.
Here's the thing, that preview level that me and John played together, that was amazing, and it was fun, and it was really cool to kind of like introduce the next year's Call of Duty into the Call of Duty franchise. That was a really, really cool thing they did. It was really neat how they did it. Excuse me, tying the two games together in that manner. It was a lot of fun. However, if I'm still playing Modern Warfare and I decide I don't really feel like spending the $60 to buy the new one, don't sit there and fucking shove cactus in my ass, to fucking force me to do it. Like, that was like, don't turn Modern Warfare into a fucking Cold War fucking advertisement. That's always been my gripe. And then, by the way, I've had multiple gripes over, the last year, where you would see there was little tweaks that were going on within the Modern Warfare engine and the algorithms that were going on. Some of the player matchups, the parity leveling. By the way, there are people talking about bringing up a fucking complaint with the Federal Trade Commission on fucking Activision and fucking Modern Warfare right now, because they are like nuking the fucking game, and it's a fucking bait and switch, and they're tanking the game. People have not been able to level their weapons up. So you're talking somebody spent $60 on a game like two or 3 weeks ago. Hold on, Sean. If you just bought the game, nobody's getting XP right now. Nobody's being able to level up their weapons for like 2 weeks. Tell me the developers don't fucking have any power over that, because the first time they hear about fucking hackers, the next day the hackers are gone. They do like, fuck that. Like, I don't buy it. I don't fucking buy it, dude.
You don't have a constitutional right to earn XP on the fucking game. They have the right to do whatever the fuck they want. They're a private company that make fucking games.
That's funny because there's rules.
You have a choice to play. Which you have exercised that choice by not playing it. But
the Federal Trade Commission,
Federal
Trade Commission will probably say different. Like,
this whole idea of petitioning the federal whatever because of a video game is fucking stupid, and it's a bunch of people that need to get a life. They need a hobby, a fucking real world hobby.
if you're okay with spending your money and getting the exact opposite of the product that you were promised and you thought you were buying, like that's exactly why the Federal Trade Commission exists in the first place.
I got my money's worth out of that game.
I did too, but that's because I bought it a year ago. If somebody bought the game 2 weeks ago and they can't level up because the fucking the programmers, the fucking developers fucking like stop that, like that's a problem. They're clearly not getting their money's worth, are they? Like that's a bait and switch.
$49 that they spent on that game is gonna fuck them over for the rest of their lives. No, get the fuck over it. Buy another game.
Yeah, see, this is why we have consumer protection laws, because that's freaking like did we get our money's worth? Yeah, we got our money's worth because we played it fucking a year ago. Sure, I'll give you that. But anybody that buys the game brand new, like within the last month, they're getting fucked because they're nuking the game. I'm telling you, like, yeah, good, okay, good, right on. I'm glad you're okay with these business practices. It's about freaking like mom and pop shops in like Podunk, Iowa, getting like freaking going out of business because of places like Walmart and freaking Family Dollar. You know, like this is why there needs to be consumer protection laws, because these big companies don't give a fuck and they've got enough money to pay for lawyers, right? Like that's my whole point. Like
over small business mom and pop shops. Got it.
Sean.
Okay.
Sean, let me just ask you this. Hold on, Sean. You go to a restaurant, right? You go to a restaurant. You hear about this fucking amazing burger that's great. It's supposed to be phenomenal. Has a lot of great reviews. You've seen it, and you just want to try it, right? Or you order the same thing. Put it this way: you order the same fucking burger all the time. You look forward to this burger. You go, and I don't know, they have a new chef or some bullshit, and it is not what you were used to. It's not up to par. What do you do? Do you return that burger back? Do you complain, or you just eat it and shut up? Does it piss you off? You've been waiting, like, you only eat at this place like once every 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you this shit that's not what you are used to or expected. What do you do in that instance at the restaurant? Do you raise shit?
Give you a real world example along with your analogy here. So, or a hypothetical, whatever. So there's a place in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, I used to go to for pizza. They had this one particular pizza called the Porkosaurus Rex. It had every form of pork on the pizza plus barbecue sauce. It was so good. I could eat a whole friggin' pizza. I go in. I only would go in there maybe once a month, maybe sometimes every other, whatever. I don't eat a whole lot of pizza, but when I do, I tear that shit up. And, well, they changed the menu. They had a lot of the same stuff, but Porkosaurus pizza was not on the menu anymore. It was upsetting, but I was there. I was in the shop, so I just ordered something. It wasn't that great. Had I known the pizza wasn't on the menu, probably wouldn't have gone.
Okay, but that's different. Let's say they did have the Porkosaurus, but they changed the meat, and it just not the same pizza.
Yeah.
They changed one.
What I would say, what I would think, how I would respond is like, well, that's unfortunate, man. They're really missing out. They fucked that up. Oh, well, I guess I won't order it. I won't order it again. I won't go back for the same pizza if it's substandard. And that's what Jay's doing.
I would throw this shit on the fucking floor and be
throw it against the wall.
I'm not gonna disagree with Sean on that. I mean, that's like I'm speaking with my wallet. I uninstalled the game and I'm not gonna play it anymore. That's it. I mean, I'm just not gonna. Now, whether or not gamers have a enough of a gripe to go to like the Federal Trade Commission, I don't know. I do know there were issues with that game going way back into last year, way before Cold War, where we I don't know about you guys. I kind of saw this coming. Like it was clear and it was obvious that if you have a company and programmers that can ban 60,000 people within 24 hours, but you can't fucking fix the fucking parity issues.
Why can't you? Yeah.
You know, like clearly they are choosing which problems to ignore and which problems to address on a day-to-day basis. It was pretty obvious last year they were doing that already.
Yeah.
When it comes to trying to physically force people and kind of nuking the game and just fucking nerfing the game to literally force people to buy the new one, the new shiny product. that's where I really have a gripe, and that's my biggest gripe is like you have a giant fan base that was already into this game. Modern Warfare was probably the best first person shooter that came out in a long time. And that's why they built that fan base. And now they're like trying to force that fan base. This is like, this is like EA with all the bullshit they've pulled over the years with all their different games. These companies don't care is my whole point. So if you don't speak with your wallet, if you keep playing the game, like it's never going to change.
Well, this is a serious question, Jay. Like, all joking aside. So, speaking with your wallet, just going with that concept, does a company not have the right to do the same? And what I mean is, it costs money for these game companies like whoever makes Call of Duty. I can't even remember the name of them right now. It costs money for them to keep all these servers up and running. Like, there are older games that still are being hosted, and they're paying a lot of money for that shit. And granted, they're making money, but it comes down to their wallet as well. So don't they have the right, as a business, as an entrepreneurial entity, to speak with their wallet?
Yes, they do. Here's where you and me are going to diverge. The company absolutely has the right. It's the company's product. However, in the modern internet age, we've seen some changes with how companies present their product. Like when you buy a game and you play it online, all of a sudden the let's say the disc that you bought, that $60 disc you bought, right? That's your property, right? By virtue of paying money for it, that is your property. However, the minute you get online, you're agreeing that this is still the company's product and it's no longer yours. So you can spend all those hours and all those days and all those whatever playing by virtue of the user agreement you signed, which you definitely didn't read, right? And give me 1 second, Veloz, I'm almost done. And so by virtue of owning the product, I'm putting this in quotes, by owning the product, but the minute you step online, you no longer own the product that you paid money for. And that's something that there is an extreme lack of internet laws in our country. And I'm not saying the internet necessarily needs to be regulated. Like, I don't want to go down that rabbit trail right now, but some of these companies are getting away with some fucking really shady shit. And when we talk about the company's bottom line, was the battle pass free? No, it was not. You could potentially pay for a battle pass.
The shadiest shit ever.
You could continue to have that battle pass pay for itself by virtue of buying it once, right? Up to a certain 3 or 4 seasons, before you have to buy another one. The company's still making money. That's exactly why we don't have GTA 6 right now. Is because GTA Online went with the shark cards, and hundreds of thousands, if not maybe a couple of million people stopped playing, myself included, right? But millions more fucking continued playing and continued putting money in the company's coffers. Now, I'm not saying a company owes anybody anything. I don't want you to think that that's what I'm saying, Sean, because I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you that a company has a right, to do what they want with their product. However, if you present your product a certain way, and this has been my gripe the whole time, if you are presenting your product a certain way, and then when somebody plops down their cash on the counter, company takes it, and then they give you the product, and you take the product home, and all of a sudden the product is not what it was presented to be, that's a bait and switch.
Big fucking example of that. Now,
that's a bait and switch. That's the whole point. Go ahead,
and I get what Sean is saying, and I get what you're saying. But I guess, Sean, for you, what you're saying as a consumer, when I buy a product, I have no right to bitch and gripe about what I purchased because it's not what I thought it was. Is that what you're telling me as a consumer? I can't.
No. I'm saying you're griping and you have the right. You have the right to do that. I'm saying your griping and bitching don't matter. That's what I'm saying. It matters only as much as the company.
Because, like you said, if you promise me something and I buy it with my money, I gave you my money, you give me that product, and all of a sudden that product, it is what it was for like a month, and then all of a sudden you change something within that product to where it's not what it was before, then yeah, because now you're stiffing me, man. That you're fucking conning me. You know what I mean?
It's like me selling a car, and then when the person gets there with the money, they hand me the money, and I hand them like a fucking Hot Wheels. I'm like, hey, it's a fucking car. It's the fucking exact model but it's a Hot Wheels. Like,
and that's a problem. Like, man, It's a fucking problem. It's a big fucking problem, especially here in the United States. It's bullshit. It is
the
bullshit.
real problem is
Consumerism.
the real problem is user agreements and the lack of rules regarding what you can and can't get away with on the
And
internet.
they should be held
what I mean?
responsible. The people making the studios, the fucking developers and shit. Like, like what fucking CD Projekt did with Cyberpunk. Like, they should be held responsible, and there should be legal repercussions for what they promised and what they under-delivered, grossly under-delivered. And at
And
all
they got
what they said
attacked.
it was going to be.
They got attacked.
Fuck yeah.
They got attacked by
Yeah,
hackers, and they
that's
so.
what's
and-
gonna happen. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
let's be real. Who buys Call of Duty for the fucking campaign? You might have a minute percentage, percentage.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah,
the
that's me.
reality is, and John, that's
Yeah,
okay. You might be
absolutely.
part of that. That's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's a minute percentage. The reality is the vast majority of people that buy Call of Duty and other similar first person shooter games, they buy it for the multiplayer. Let's be real.
how many people keep
not split
playing
hairs
it for the campaign? Well, how many people keep playing it for the campaign? Once you beat the campaign, you go back and play it again. More than likely, you're playing it again for the multiplayer.
Yeah,
And I would
unless you're an achievement hunter.
And I will freely admit this. I played the campaign on Modern Warfare, and that was what got me into playing the multiplayer. No shit, because I have not played online first-person shooting games in a long fucking time.
I
And
kind
that-
of feel like you have to play the game. If you've never played Call of Duty or first-person
That
shooters
game-
like that, you kind of have
No
to
shit.
get
They
acquainted.
they presented a wonderful product a year ago, almost. I think it was this month. A year ago this month is when I got Modern Warfare, and it was amazing. I'm not gonna fucking lie and say that I didn't like it or I was bitching or griping about it a year ago, because I wasn't. And then when I got online and I played multiplayer and started having fun, and the group started getting together and we started playing together, we had fucking amazing nights on that game.
I think that's why you're having issues with Breakpoint too, is because it's not Breakpoint is not a game where it forces you to play on your own to get used to the controls first, because anybody can jump in with you and do the first missions with you, but it starts you off all weird and shit. And I think that's one of the reasons why you really hate the fucking game right now.
That's a whole nother. That's like a side conversation. I mean, when I buy a game, I like to have fun within the first few minutes. Okay, maybe give me a half hour, give me an hour. But if I'm not having fun after an hour, like, I'm sorry, dude, I'm done with the game. Like, that's it. Like,
It's because your ADHD is fucked, dude. You need some Adderall.
Fuck that, dude. Fuck, that is the last thing I need. Are you
Maybe-
fucking speed? Are you kidding me?
No, dude.
That's like the
People with
last thing I fucking need.
legit ADHD.
Ledick.
Adderall normalizes you, dude. It normalizes you.
Don't get Ledick. Jay, you have Ledick.
No.
And you know what? It's interesting. It's interesting that you bring that up because with the
Legit.
complexity of Breakpoint, I think with the simplicity of the Division 2, he may enjoy Division 2 better because it's a little more simpler than Breakpoint.
I don't think he's cut out for Tom Clancy games, like, at all.
Well, I'm not gonna necessarily disagree with John there. I've never played Division 2, but a lot of it was the complexity. It was like I didn't know like what the fuck to press or where the fuck to go. Like, it just
Well, you
wasn't
said you
fun.
haven't been into first-person shooters like in a long time, so I don't think you've played like Ghost Recon or Sam
haven't.
Fisher games
I have
or
not.
the Division
right, I have
or
not.
shit like that.
And they're
Yeah,
great
no,
games.
It's a different. Tom Clancy's video games are a different style of gameplay.
I played about 2 weeks worth of online, and this is why I say it's been like over a decade, because I played about 2 weeks worth of was it Vegas? It was a
Oh
play-
yeah, Rainbow Six Vegas. Yeah.
yeah.
that
I
was
played
dope.
that. And I enjoyed it to an extent, but it was a very hard game, and it was I think that game was ahead of its time, because it was similar to Modern Warfare, and the fact that I like hardcore on Modern Warfare versus core, I think I would have enjoyed Vegas more now than I did then. You know, being a little bit older and a little bit more patient, and stuff like that. But I think that game was just ahead of its time, and I didn't get into it enough at the time, and now I got super into Ghost of Tsushima. I've been playing online Ghost of Tsushima, where the whole online is co-op. It's you, and it can be you and a couple friends, or it can be you and a bunch of randoms, but you have to complete these missions online together. There's no player versus player. It's player versus fucking CPU, the whole fucking online. And it's
that's
a lot
how
of fun.
Breakpoint is. Yeah, that's how Breakpoint is too.
Yeah. And you know, but the difference is I'm having fun. The difference is I'm having fun. And that's really the
Well, he's happy.
You just gotta.
What do you want me to say?
Just
Like,
do me a favor. Jump on Breakpoint and do like the first few missions on your own, and get acquainted. That's all I ask.
You know what it is though, because after that, because you know there's a whole process too, because with the weapon system in that game, you know, for me personally, I recycle my blueprints and I dismantle them or I sell them, and then I just buy the same blueprint, you know, and that just may be a lot for Jay. Having to go to the shop or go to a bivouac and
too much going on and shit. I don't know. Sean, have you played Breakpoint?
I haven't. No.
You haven't? You can play it. There's a free trial on it.
Yeah,
I'll check it out, man. I'll check it out. I'm a little more patient and open-minded when it comes to some games. Some I could turn on and play and be like, yeah, this ain't the game for me. Like Halo. For some reason, hate all you want. I have never ever been able to enjoy playing Halo. I've tried.
I don't even want to hear you say that.
I gave it the old college effort, which coincidentally I dropped out of college. So.
Here, can I mute you? I don't want to hear you say this. This is blasphemy.
I'm sorry, and you know what? Because a couple, like 2 weeks ago, I downloaded the Master Chief Collection too, and I started playing. I literally played the multiplayer for like maybe 2 hours, and then like I played a little bit of the campaign, and I'm just like, now I remember why I didn't play this 15 years ago. Fuck this shit. You know?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, look, the first Halo game I played was Reach, and that was, I think, like the fourth Halo game in.
It was
Yeah, because I know there was ODST and all that shit. I would rather I have a better time watching Halo content, and I'm not talking about the video games. I'm talking about like the movies that they have. They have the Forward Unto Dawn movie, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah. They're pretty good movies.
It's a fantastic lore, but the game, it doesn't. You know, I'm not going to say it sucks. I'm just, it's not my cup of tea.
I don't think. Yeah, man, I don't think it sucks. It's preference for me, and this is what I don't like about Halo. For me, I can't get into things that are too sci-fi. What I don't like about Halo is the plasma guns. It's jumping through the air and being able to fly. Because I think it was like, well, you sort of float, you know, like whatever. There was a Black Ops or a Call of Duty, I can't remember, but they implemented that fucking flying shit.
Oh yeah, and Advanced Warfare.
I fucking hated it, man. Sean, it was so bad. Sean, it was just like. 1 second, Jay.
Go ahead.
What they did with that was trying to bring Halo into the game, just like with Warzone, they were trying to bring in Fortnite.
Yeah,
that was all they were doing. So they do have a history of like taking some chances and trying to appeal to the masses that aren't coming to the game, and it's been successful. So you got to kind of hand it to them on that end. But I don't like that sci-fi shit. I can't get into it.
Yeah, and that's the exact same reason why I don't like Gears of War either.
Yeah, same.
Yep. What?
Oh, yeah. Sean, did you ever read Starship Troopers? The book.
No, I've seen the movie, never the book.
What the fuck was that?
If you ever get a chance, still to this day considered widely to be one of the better like military books of all time, believe it or not, even as a science fiction story. I would highly recommend it. And I'm not going to say it's going to change your views on
sci-fi shit,
you know, any sci-fi games per se, like Halo, but there is an element of that in that book because it is science fiction. And it is, you know, kind of based in parts of space, but
it's not too far-fetched. Like
it is definitely not far-fetched at all. And that's
like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I can see this being a reality sometime in the far nearish future.
Yes. You know? The movie was actually for as campy as the movie is, you know, like it's actually a really, really good parody You know, the movie was they made the movie into a parody, and but the book, if you actually read the book, it's actually on several like reading lists, like for military, like cadets at West Point, the Marine Corps commandant, whatever. Like
the structure of how they run their military is really, it's pretty realistic. Like that's how shit
yeah,
is
like
structured.
Homeboy did a good job writing, and the book was written like a long time ago, like way before any of this was ever even close to approaching being a physical reality. But we're getting close, and it's one of those things where why would you not use technology to your advantage if you're fighting war, right? And that's one of those like, I don't know if that will change Sean's view on, you know, games like Halo or Gears of War, but it's along the similar. It's along the same line. It's along the same line.
Halo is what turned me from my PlayStation over to Xbox.
Yeah.
You know, and because my first next gen console was a PlayStation. That's originally I went from Super Nintendo to PlayStation.
So
that was my first next gen console. You know, and PlayStation was dope. I was fucking super stoked. One Christmas, you know, we were. You know, we had family come over from all over, and one of my cousins, he's a computer engineer, and he had an Xbox, but he had a jailbroken Xbox, so he had a bunch of bootleg fucking games, you know, and one of them was Halo when it first came out. Yep. Dude, we spent that whole weekend taking turns. But you know the rule. When you're playing a game and you die, you hand off the controller. And the next person plays and picks up. And that's how we fucking play. We beat the whole fucking game just fucking playing, you know, passing the control. Oh, shit, I fucking died. Here, you pick up on the next spot.
God damn it.
And, bro, I was amazed by that game. It was like, whoa, what the fuck? I'm over here with the PlayStation in my house. This fucking cousin comes over with an Xbox. It's like, oh, shit, this is a badass game. It's only on Xbox. That's when I first heard about exclusives, too. It's like, why is it not available on PlayStation? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, and here we are now, you know, big fucking console wars and shit.
That's very interesting too, because like before all that, if you think about it, everything was technically exclusive to its own company, and then around that time, that's when everything started.
Like Sonic, you had Sony or
the Sega
Genesis,
Saturn.
You know, Sega Saturn. You only had Sonic. You're right. But and here's another reason, and I know I sound like a fucking Xbox fanboy or whatever the fuck, but I like the fact that they're trying to bring everybody together. They're trying to make cross-platform a normal thing. They're trying to make it to where video games you can play.
Coming. Cross-platform is coming for almost.
That's how it should have been from the fucking beginning.
That's the thing is when these companies realize that, you know, you might come up with that game of the generation, you know. And if you make that game of generation exclusive to one platform, okay, you might get a few more people to fucking buy your system, right? But the reality is, if you want to really make your money, you're gonna have to fucking bring it to the masses. You're just gonna have to. You are just gonna have to.
It's available to everybody. Why the fuck not?
And with the advent of current technology, it's easy to fucking do. It's just it's easy to do. It's not hard. Like the internet changed the game. The internet really changed the game. And there's no reason, there's no excuse to have a badass game, especially a game that can be played multiplayer, available to only one specific console. It's just that's where the company is going to lose all their money. The company is going to lose all their money.
That's old school thinking. That's old school thinking.
It really is. It really is. It's old thinking. It's not progressive. Excuse me. It's not progressive at all. Like, you know, cross-platform is going to be the next thing, and it's going to happen with like most games probably. I mean,
well, we're in the growing pains of that. You know, I think it's no secret. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to bitch about, because I bitched when you get on Call of Duty and you're playing with someone.
For the PC players, yeah. I mean, PC gaming, just too much going on. Like too many programmers, like especially with the day and age today where everybody's a fucking techie. Just about, you know, and nobody likes to fucking lose, or they just want to be goats, even though they're fucking cheating. Yeah.
Well, even in the past 9 months, think about last spring after COVID. We were all Call of Duty every night. We had whatever. We had some people that weren't on Xbox. We had people. All right. So how many times did we have somebody in the party that wasn't on the same platform and we couldn't hear them or they couldn't hear us? That happened a lot. Sometimes it happened to the point that I got pissed and just was like, "Fuck it, I'll play tomorrow. It'll be back up tomorrow." Well, I haven't experienced that at all in the past couple of months. So like we're in the growing pain stage where they're writing the book as they go, and you've got to take your patience for video games and your disdain for bullshit and kind of like set all of that to the side and go and acknowledge what's happening. What's the reality? They're writing it as they go, and you're wanting to be a part of it. So be a part of it. You know.
I think you're exactly right, Sean. And the only thing I can say from I don't know, about 15 minutes ago in this conversation is I'm right now waiting, and I'm waiting for the next game. Like I'm done with Call of Duty, but I will when the next game comes, I will be there.
Well, now that you got an Xbox, that's going to be the next Halo.
Well, don't forget, Carl.
I think it's going to be Rocket League.
The next generation of consoles has already come out, so there's going to be games coming out that I don't have a console for now.
No, but that's the beauty. That's what I'm telling you. That's the beauty of Xbox. So any new games coming out, you're going to be able to play from Xbox One on up. You know, so
I'm going to have a mystic moment right here. Okay, listen closely.
Here we go.
All right.
Mystic Stoots.
There's going to be a new console, and it's going to be from people who have left the big console companies and said, "Fuck that, we can do better." And they're going to make a console that is more universal for everybody.
I think you're right.
Mark my words.
I think you're right.
It's not going to be Xbox. It's not going to be the new Xbox, the new PlayStation.
It's going to be Tesla. It's going to be fucking Tesla.
Right?
It's going to be fucking Musk.
Elon Musk.
It could happen.
See if I'm fucking wrong. It's going to be fucking Tesla. It's going to be fucking.
I'm going to tell you right now, Elon Musk is not interested in the gaming community making gaming better. He's more about bigger issues like, you know, how to make humans better with their environment and communication and shit.
But you know what Elon Musk is about? He is about going to the masses for genius ideas. And if he has the opportunity to funnel people into his way of thinking through video games, he'll do it.
Yep.
He'll do it.
Yep.
You imagine if him and Dave Portnoy got together?
Hey,
if it doesn't go towards the betterment of humanity, I don't think he's going to be interested in it.
That's what, Carlos, you're missing the big. I'm going to throw. This is a science nerd coming out in here real quick. They started crowdsourcing telescopes telescopes and satellite imagery and stuff from images from space. They started crowdsourcing them. They've discovered hundreds of new fucking planets in the galaxy. Okay, because they crowdsourced their fucking images. Okay, Elon Musk is not stupid. Sean said, the minute that he can find a way to fucking crowdsource like freaking data and stuff from a video game, watch that motherfucker come out with a fucking console, dude. I'm telling you right now.
Like, watch him be in the fucking car.
He'll do it. I'm telling you.
He'll do it like that. He'll do it better, and he'll do it cheaper. Guaranteed.
Well, okay, so the only correlation I can see him being enticed towards the gaming industry on that is like that meta, what is it, the metaverse, or what the fuck did we call it?
Metaverse.
I actually have something about that. Now that you bring that up,
that's really the only interest that I think he might have in the gaming industry, because I mean virtual reality and the way games are going into right now, you know, trying to get into they're trying to push that frontier for it. So that's really the only interest I fucking see Elon Musk fucking having in anything to do with gaming whatsoever. Period. He just doesn't seem like the kind of. I don't even think he fucking plays video games.
He does. He does.
Respect. Disagree.
He does play video games. He plays on PC.
No, of course he does. He play on PC?
He plays Grand Theft Auto. He played Death Stranding. He's very open about his gaming. I mean, it's
I don't know
probably
how I feel about Death Stranding. It was all right. I don't think it, the
I,
character they used for that. I don't think it did them difference.
the thing.
Does Elon Musk play video games?
I don't know, the thing about Elon Musk is that if he sees something interesting, he's gonna do it. The guy fucking made a whole company just to make a fucking flamethrower and other random shit.
That
You know,
he didn't. The Boring Company was that was a
for the
gimmick. That was like a
Hyperloop.
sales. That was advertised. That was a marketing gimmick.
Hey, but it
He
worked.
didn't make the company for that. He made the flamethrower market the Boring Company, which was for the fucking tunnel. You know.
Mm-hmm. The vacuum tunnel, right?
Yeah.
The Hyperloop.
Yeah.
Which
was something he also tried to outsource to people who weren't in the professional industry per se. He put that out to college people to say, "Hey,
and
I
I'm not
got all this
disagreeing,
money for
but
you."
his
if you
interest
figure
in
this
that.
out."
His interest in that was in civil engineering and how to make traffic better for people overall. Like the big picture was the betterment of traffic, people, less, EO or CO emissions or whatever the fuck, less traffic, period. Taking care of congestive highways and how that's affecting the fucking environment overall. What's the reason he's sending out Starlink out on the fucking satellite is better communication for people overall, especially in remote areas. You know what I mean? That's the betterment of communication for people overall. Like I feel like his philosophy here is the betterment of humans in life overall, period, without affecting or leaving too big of an impact with the world. Again, I don't feel like gaming for him has that, aside from mental health, which I don't even think, dude. I mean,
He lost
you
a
have to be a little
child, so he's
crazy to be
definitely
that
got
fucking
some
smart
trauma.
and to have that big of a, that big of a conscience for everybody in the fucking world and thinking that you can, and he does. He fucking makes it work. You know what I mean?
Well, if it's not Elon, maybe you're right. But actually, you probably are right because I don't think he would go out of his way to create something for people to veg out in front of for hours upon hours and waste their fucking life. If not Elon, it'll be somebody else.
I'm hoping it is somebody.
I really think
I'm hoping it is somebody.
I really think there's a universal independent console coming that there's going to be probably very few. Think about when high def TV came out. There was like you could watch football on Sundays on like NBC, and that was your high def programming. The stations weren't prepared for high def, but they did. And I think when this universal console comes out, there's going to be very few games to choose from, but people are going to get on that shit, and it's going to be the new way to go.
Yeah,
I think that's Stadia's goal, as a cloud gamer platform, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but cloud gaming, there was a really, really good service that I actually had back in the day. I think like 2005 or some shit. It was On Live, and it was bought out by Sony, and then they were dismantled. I had a subscription to them, and I had bought like maybe three or four games on there, and it was a really good system. It was cloud-based gaming. You didn't have to download anything. You need a fucking login. You can play on your computer, or on a browser or wherever the fuck you're at. But it was ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time, and nobody was fucking ready for it. And what happened, because there were a little guy coming up, Sony came over here and quashed them. They bought them out, and they dismantled the whole fucking project. And it's like, so people who had bought games through them, it was money wasted. Those it was just the servers were killed off. But cloud gaming, I think, is that universal system that you're talking about. Somebody just needs to make it better and really universal to where they can connect anybody and everybody, no matter where they're at or what they're playing, without spending a lot of money. That little kid in Africa who, to distract him from being hungry, he wants to play Mario, but he can't.
Yeah, it's a struggle, man. The struggle's real. Do I eat or do I play Mario Kart?
Yeah, so
seeing all those banana peels on Mario Kart's probably got to really fuck those kids up.
Right, seeing those mushrooms.
Kids are like,
probably
almost had it. Put some VR goggles on. Try to catch those goddamn banana peels.
Wait, I'm trying to do a lip reading here. What's that? You saying?
What's he
What do you
say?
mean my hot pocket's not ready? Did you
No,
bring the
he's
shit out of
talking
him?
really to that guy pounding him from behind. I love it. Yeah, I like
I'm gonna
that.
eat the shit out of his fucking meat.
Yes, can we just cook the cat already?
Seriously.
Talking.
Because I'm tired.
My
I'm
porn.
tired of this cat rubbing
don't
up all
leave
over
Guy-
me. Can we just eat it already?
I didn't leave guy on guy porn on the TV. What are you talking about?
Maybe Jay's banging the cat while he's getting it from behind. Yeah.
So on our final section,
almost
which
there.
I actually think
Yeah, babe.
could actually tie in with military and gaming.
I'll come and cook you that steak.
Veloz,
Get the strawberries out.
and I actually got some interesting history here. There's a game coming out this year called 6 Days in Fallujah.
Yeah.
Jay,
I'm gonna
did
mute
you
myself
get to
and
look
get
at that
that
trailer yet?
fucking shit. I can't answer. I'm muted at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I did. I'm curious. I'll put it that way. I'm curious about this game. I read about the game, read about the history of it. I read about some of the controversy. The second Battle of Fallujah was the biggest battle, urban battle specifically, during the Iraq War. A lot of good people. God fucking damn it. Are you fucking kidding me? Stand by, guys.
Yeah.
It's kids, man. This kid's for you.
Well, I'll
pick
Happy
it up for.
Valentine's Day.
yeah, because
Go ahead.
did you
Hey, man, can you at least turn your camera off? I want to see.
did
that
you
shit.
read any of the history of the game? Like
I
what happened with
didn't,
it? So
Oh, no, I didn't.
the
man.
game was originally slated to release in 2010. It was canceled due to controversy, and the game was put on hold until 2016 after its original studio, Atomic Games, went bankrupt in 2011. So the game's plot followed a squad of U.S. Marines from 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, fighting in the Second Battle of Fallujah over the span of 6 days in November 2004. It also says here that the premise of the game was subject to controversy, with questions raised as to its appropriateness, especially given the fact that the true events of the game are based upon were recent at the time. It was originally to be published by Konami, however, in 2009, a spokesman informed the Associated Press that Konami was no longer publishing the game due to the controversy surrounding it. So this month, the game was announced to be back in development by Highwire Games, consisting of former Halo and Destiny game developers. So that was what Jay was saying about the controversy behind
Let
it.
me get this straight. So somebody made a game that is pretty much like these other documentaries. It's a video game based on real events, and it was too real for them, and they couldn't stomach the fact of what our troops go
That
to
sounds like-
and the shit that actually is faced over there by our brothers and sisters overseas in theater. It was too real for them. Is that what they're bitching about?
Yes,
Is
that's
that
what.
what made them fucking stop the fucking project? Is
That-
that, oh, this is too real. There's no way, we can show what is really happening out there and why PTSD, depression, suicide is a real fucking problem here
An OPSEC.
because it is
Well,
too fucking.
dude, there's some other at the time when the game was originally announced, it was fairly recent. We're talking like this was within a few years of the actions that had occurred. They're basing some of the characters in the game off of real people.
Now is that for information sensitivity purposes? Because that I understand.
No.
But if it's
No.
for it's too soon, fuck you. This
No.
shit's happening right the fuck now.
You're looking at it. You're looking at it the right way, but they did it for different reasons. They did it because it was so soon. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to run the risk of getting in fucking hot water and being made an example out of in the media that these people put out this game. Well, you've got a bunch of veterans that just can't. They don't give a fuck about veterans. They don't give a fuck about what it triggers you to think, how it makes you react, whatever. They give a fuck about putting out a product that is going to be embroiled in controversy and cause them to lose a lot of fucking money. That's why it didn't happen.
So
It's
the
bottom
big
line.
objective here was money. They didn't want to
Yeah.
lose money.
always
It had
is.
nothing to do with
Do you remember-
do
you remember when my buddy Mike
shit that
came
fucking
on?
people go through? Yeah. Mike.
I mean,
what about him?
yeah, Mike from Running with Scissors.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, like with Postal and that whole game, and like that's like obviously they embrace the controversy. Like that's part of their shtick
That
is
was
to embrace
whole
the controversy.
gimmick. That was a shtick of
You
the whole
know,
fucking thing.
Fuck them.
So what I noticed when I watched the trailer, I just watched the trailer this morning. It was a little weird. It was a little weird. It was almost like I was starting to watch a documentary that I've got to think twice about watching, because there's certain things that cause me to go to certain places that I a lot of times don't want to. Sometimes I'm cool with it. Sometimes I'm fine. I'll watch that stuff and it'll remind me of things, and I'm all right with that. But other times, not so much. And today's just a not so much day. So when I'm watching that trailer this morning, I could recognize the weight and the gravity of the content on the real side. Now on the game side, what I also noticed was that the animation, the graphics seemed like they're about 10 years ago. Really good about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't digging the way that the skins were, and the when you could see the people talking, you see their teeth. You remember how like years ago it looked weird?
Superimposed teeth. Like like you just got some fucking teeth work done.
All right. Yeah. With some really good, nicely painted wooden teeth or some shit. That's what it looked like. So like on the gaming side, I wasn't too impressed with it, but on the I don't know, they just showed cutscenes. I try to take that for what it's worth. I want to see gameplay. Anytime you show a game on a trailer, show me gameplay. I don't think they had any gameplay on that trailer. So
it didn't look like
it looks really fucking good. It looks really fucking good.
When that comes out, I'm fucking getting it. Now, I wasn't in Iraq. I was in Afghanistan. Two completely different theaters, two completely different things. I was not in Fallujah. I actually was out of the military by the time Fallujah came around. But I remember sitting there watching the news every day. There was a thing in that trailer where the guy said a third of his battalion was killed in Fallujah. A third of a battalion. That's a lot of motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm actually reading about it now.
I remember watching the news every day and sitting there going, fuck, man. 8 more people. Fuck, 10 more people. Fucking bad day. We fucking lost 15, 18 soldiers that day. And I got a buddy that I was in basic with. His name is Colby Bazell. And Bazell, he ended up going to Iraq. And he was there early. I'm not sure if he was there during Fallujah or not. He's obviously not a Marine. We were Army infantry. But he wrote a book called The Man in the Black Pajamas. And Colby, to my knowledge, after he came back, he kind of went off the rails. I think he's still off the rails because I haven't seen shit from him online. But his book got a lot of traction. And Colby is Colby. And he would go on these interviews on these news shows, and they would ask him, they would try to, get to the humanity of the veteran behind the PTSD and all that stuff. And they would ask him questions about, well, what do you like to do? And he would straight up just look him dead in the face and go, I like to drink a lot. And you could see the uncomfortable newscasters who have never been through fucking shit squirming in their seats because they don't know what to do with that. Because he gave them a real fucking answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what the fuck it is, right?
Yeah. So I'll get the game when it comes out, and good or bad, I'll play that shit.
Well, let me tell you real quick about like the graphics and stuff, and what happens with games like this is like, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, there was 2 Army games that I played. Well, one of them I think was actually a Marine game, but there was 2 games that I played that are actually like from the military, right? Like the military developed and shit, and they became like Main Street games. One of them was America's Army, or America's Army 3. On Steam is by far my favorite. And if you notice the graphics and some of the shit is kind of low par, but it's super fucking realistic, and it's pretty awesome how you fucking play it. There was another one, I forget the name of it, where you're basically in like a squad of 4. And you're also like in this eastern part of the fucking world, and a lot of the commands and shit that they say are pretty are realistic. Like everything's pretty fucking real, and the technology always seems to be about maybe a couple to a few years behind on the current gaming industry. So
Yeah.
I just wonder if that's kind of what this is like some of the technology is backed by, government or military agencies where it's like, well, shit, maybe we can use this to either educate or as like a training tool to kind of show what the hell is going or what to expect, for certain troops and shit. And anything put out by the military or the government is always going to be subpar for when it comes to at least their military. Unless you're a fucking 3-letter agency, you're not going to get the best shit.
Yep.
It's always going to be subpar, or it's always going to be bottom of the barrel. So I wonder. I need to look into more about the studios and who's actually backing this game into making it to what it is now. Because I doubt huge. I mean, who'd you say was the first studio that was backing this at first?
Konami.
Konami. Okay, Konami's pretty big fucking gaming industry. Like they're fucking huge. But since they cut the cord on that, I wonder who the other fucking gaming industries are, and how much backing they're getting from other sources to make this game happen.
Well, I'd like to comment real quick, and kind of going back to what Sean was talking about. And this is coming as somebody from Sean's generation. I'm only a couple years removed from Sean, and I joined late. I joined at 29 years old, so the heyday of Iraq was over at that point. The Iraq war was not over, but the heyday was over. A big portion of the heyday of Afghanistan was over to an extent. It was still kind of going on my first tour, but not quite to the extreme that it had been at other times. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, as a 3-time veteran of the war in Afghanistan, I feel guilty sometimes. I feel guilty because I could have joined at 18 years old out of high school. I would have been in basic training before 9/11 happened. I would have probably been in the Army 2 years before 9/11 happened. And I could have retired fucking last year. Or excuse me, not last year, fucking 2019. I could have retired in 2019. Mm-hmm. And when I see some of the stories, when I watch some of the documentaries, I feel fucking guilty because I did join, but I didn't join early enough to experience some of that stuff. Now, should I have experienced it? Would it have been a good thing? Would I have survived? I don't know. But even as a fucking 3-time combat veteran of Afghanistan, I feel fucking guilty because I was old enough. I could have gone, and I didn't. And I had a lot of experiences and a lot of really great experiences in my life before I joined the Army that I'm not ashamed of having, and I'm glad I had them. They were the experiences that made me who I am.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit.
Knowing what it's like to be a veteran, knowing what it's like to go through war, not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Yeah.
And then seeing what some of my peers did or had to experience years and years ago before I joined, when I had the opportunity to join, but I didn't. I feel guilty. I feel like,
how do you reconcile that?
I don't.
You don't.
I don't deal a lot with regret. It makes me feel sad. Like I don't do the regret thing. Really, I kind of just, when I feel guilt about stuff that I could have done but I didn't,
That is so cute.
Oh, you like that?
Oh man, is that why you sneaked? Is that why you sneaked out about a few minutes ago?
No.
Oh, so pretty. Yeah. I like it. Look how happy you are. I'm so proud of you, bro.
So
I want to come over there and give you a hug.
Let me interject a little anecdote, right? So I've always got kind of bummed out when I'll talk to somebody who was in the military, and when we start having the discussion of what was your MOS, what'd you do, where you deployed, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes the person I'm talking to wasn't infantry, wasn't deployed, and they have this sense of like, um, lesser
Say something
experience.
about that.
My usual response to them is, you did what the military asked of you. Had they asked you to be deployed, you would have went just like I did.
Dude, I fucking
You would have
tried,
done-
man, and it pissed me off. I fucking volunteered for deployments, and you know what? It's like you volunteered, but you get to that point where whether you get approved or not, because you get so many requests, you know. And I was at the fucking cutoff. It's like at right
That's
MOS,
correct.
right rank. You know, I was one of the people they fucking needed, but I just didn't. At that point, it was
That's
like
how it went.
by the time they got my shit,
That's how it went, man.
but
and
that
that's
like
correct.
pisses
And that's
me
not
off,
your fault because
because I
that's
don't feel like I did shit. I don't feel like I did shit. I went to
No,
fucking
and
training.
No, and you're
I got out.
right. That's why I don't. It's not a regret.
There's more.
It's
Hold on.
Go ahead.
So I had this experience last summer where I was doing some training with a certain company at a certain range, and there happened to be a Green Beret that was there because there was a podcast being recorded at that range that day in one of the buildings. So that particular Green Beret, he was a medic, and I listened to the podcast, and I ended up talking to him that night. I didn't hear the podcast. I didn't know who he was, honestly. I could tell that he had a fake leg, prosthetic, but I didn't know shit about him. But it turns out that he was a Green Beret medic on a team. He was on a deployment. I think it was in Afghanistan. He got blown up, and it fucked one of his legs up, and he had to tourniquet his own leg. He went back to wherever to heal up, and commandeered, just like a fucking movie, commandeered a vehicle, made his way back to the FOB to join his team once he was able, which really wasn't that long. Got blown up. He was crossing the canal, and RPG landed in the canal underneath him as he was crossing, blew him up through the air. He said he was conscious the whole time, landed, looked up, and his leg was in the tree. It blew off his other leg. So he tourniqueted and saved his own life. And so anyway, he's that dude. It's a hard motherfucker, but a really nice guy. And so I'm talking to him, and we're drinking whiskey, we're chit-chatting. There was a couple other veterans that were there, and I realized where this guy's been and what he's done makes like my meager little 11 Bravo non-whatever ass look like shit. And I made some comment like, I haven't done near the shit you've done or whatever. And he interrupts me and he goes, "Stop. Don't do that. Don't diminish your service." Right. And in that moment, I was embarrassed because I've been the guy that people were doing what I was doing to him, and I've said similar shit to them, and there I was doing the same fucking thing.
Right.
We all do it. We made the choices that we made, good or bad, regret or no regret, and we served in the capacity that what do they always say? Needs of the Army, right? So the Army needed you in a place, and that's where your ass was.
That's correct. That is correct, and that's why I can have those feelings of guilt at times, but there's no regret. I know full well, my life has carried me through different seasons in said life, and I did what I did in those seasons of life. I mean, it's not a regret thing for me. It's just I do feel guilty at times because it's not for the intensity or the valor or the glory. It's just that at the time I was physically capable and I was able, and I could have, but at the time in my life, I didn't. And then when I did, I enjoyed it so fucking much. I've enjoyed these last 11 years of my life so much being active duty Army that it's made me wonder. And the question has crossed my head multiple times, like, what if you had joined out of high school? You know what I mean? Like X, Y, or Z, and obviously my entire life would be different. I wouldn't even have my children right now. Like let's take the Rick and Morty multiverse down that path, right? I wouldn't have my children, and that would suck. I wouldn't trade that for fucking anything, right? Yep. And so when we talk about these experiences, it's not so much a regret thing. It's just more like, yeah, sometimes I feel guilty. And I totally understand what you were saying earlier. You know, there's some nights where I can watch a fucking documentary or I can watch a bunch of YouTube videos of IEDs going off and doesn't phase me one bit. And then there's other nights where that shit, I'll be fucking crying in about fucking 30 seconds, like real tough. I'll just be a fucking sobbing mess in like fucking 30 seconds, dude. Like won't take no time at all. And I get it. And a game like 6 Days in Fallujah, you know, it's not a bad thing. People should understand like the cost.
What we as soldiers, not me, but like the collective we.
Collectively, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had like to add on to that. Well, first, before I add on to that, Sean, that experience that you had with that hero, when I first met you guys, I didn't even know what any of you looked like yet. And we were playing in a lobby, and we were all talking, and someone had asked something, and like I had said, oh yeah, someone had asked me, and I had said, I was like, oh, I was just a cook, I didn't really do nothing. And if it wasn't the exact same verbiage, it was almost the same thing that you said to me. What that gentleman said to you. And I remember
was either me or Sean. I remember that night. That was either me or Sean or both of us.
And a lot of people have said, like, oh yeah, you did your part. But I never heard it from, like, to me, I look at you guys as fucking badasses, for the shit that you guys have done. So hearing it from you guys, it really changed my perspective on, how I felt about my service in, because it was very aggravating, but I got to do some cool shit. I met some fucking cool people. I fed some fucking cool people. I got to see the fucking backwoods of fucking cooking in the military, and but that's how I correlate now into the game, where for someone who didn't deploy, this is going to be a game that I may really, really enjoy. Especially, for those who have served and never went downrange, we all know what we signed up for. We signed up, expecting to be part of the big fight one day. So I think for some of those who have that mentality and haven't gotten the chance yet, I think it may be a little exciting. But then I look on the darker side of things, and I look at combat veterans who have, especially those who were actually in the battle, because we're not talking about something that happened 600 years ago. This is what, 16 years ago?
Fallujah would be second battle. Fallujah would be right around that time. Yes.
Yeah. So these heroes are still around today, telling these stories in TED Talks or to audiences that want to hear it. So it's going to be interesting for those combat veterans if they're going to take the leap to want to play something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and there's something to be said too. We've broached the topic on this podcast a few times where our generation is a little bit different. It's everybody's got the uncle or the grandpa that doesn't talk about their time during war or whatever. Our generation is a little different, and we're not as opposed to talking about our experiences and letting it out a little bit, and it's healthy to do that. There's a by the name of Clint Ramisha. There's a Netflix series called Medal of Honor. He's episode 2. And he talks about it in that episode that we're doing a great disservice to our country by not sharing our experiences and not letting people know what we've gone through and what we've been through and what we experienced. It doesn't matter if you're a 92 golf cook. Doesn't matter if you're what were you, Carlos, with 91 golf?
91 Echo.
91 Echo. My apologies. 91 Echo, a machinist. Former 91 Lima construction equipment repairer who then transferred over to 11 Bravo infantry, or an 11 Bravo infantryman from day one, like Sean Stutz. We're doing a great disservice by not sharing our experiences and not letting people know what we went through. It doesn't matter how hardcore or not hardcore, or if you spent your whole time in garrison. or if all you ever did was freaking file paperwork for the fucking general at the fucking G1 at the Pentagon, whatever. You know, like, we're doing a disservice by not sharing our experiences with our civilian counterparts, because people should know what goes into it. They should know what is sacrificed. We have an all-volunteer army. We're one of the only countries in the history of the fucking world, the history of human civilization. We're one of the only countries that has ever had an all-volunteer army. There's no conscription service in our fucking country. The only conscription that we have in our country is that males aged 18 have to sign up for selective service. That's it. That's it. And the only time that would ever come into play is fucking like World War III plus, right? That's the only time that would ever come into play. And if you want to have an all-volunteer army, you are kind of separated because you're making a choice. You are choosing. You are freely choosing as a grown adult, male or female, you are freely choosing to join your country's military, regardless of branch. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And people should know what that sacrifice comes with. There's a lot of positives. There's a whole lot of positives. And I can't even begin to go into how many positives and how far ahead of the game and how far ahead of the curve you'll be as a young man or woman joining the military, either out of high school or out of college. But if we forget the other side, though, and we don't talk about the other side, we're doing a disservice, you know. And we can talk about the GI Bill, and we can talk about, you know, having money in the bank and being able to buy your own house at fucking 23 years old, and that's all good stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we don't talk about the other stuff,
well, it's hard, man. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy. And like, here's where it gets complicated. You talk about something to somebody, like you said, like a civilian that needs to hear, it's good for them. Because they can't really honestly relate due to firsthand experience, it becomes like a blurb on the news where if they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. But either way, they end up going, man, that's crazy, or oh, that's gotta suck, man. And so you like fucking process this shit, it comes out, and you know, for whatever reason, and then it's over, and they move on, and you're still there. And now this is why it you guys know I am a proponent of therapy, but after a certain amount of time in therapy, when I learned all my tools and figured out how to navigate shit, therapy became a bunch of diminishing returns for me. So I stopped going, and I don't regret that, because I would go in, and the appointments were always in the morning, and the therapist was always bringing up shit I've talked about way too many times to a therapist. And so I end up leaving at like 11 o'clock in the morning, ready to go to the bar, because I'm fucking done with the day already. I don't want to talk about that shit, because for her, she's doing her job. For her, she's listening to one more veteran out of the gazillion that she's listened to in her career, and she's ready for the next appointment. Well, I'm not. Now I'm ready to fucking, what? Go home and be pissed? Go to the bar and get drunk? Go home and be aggravated at my kids when they're not doing anything fucking wrong?
Right.
This is why it's hard to talk about shit, because you remain there. And somebody that doesn't get it, that doesn't understand, they can't relate. They can't relate beyond a movie. They can't relate beyond a video game. They can't relate beyond their uncle's experience that they don't want to talk about either. So, fuck, man, you're screwed either way. And let me just, as a caveat to that, something else you said, Jay, there are good things that come with that. Here's an example. My income is tax-free. Okay. In the state that I live in, I can write off 2 vehicles and a house. I don't pay taxes on them. I don't pay taxes on my mortgage. I don't pay taxes on 2 vehicles because of the benefit status I get from the VA. All right. You know what I've heard so many times that I fucking stopped even bringing it up to civilians? Must be nice. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
fuck
it must
you.
be nice.
Yeah, fuck
Fuck.
you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must
That's
be
some
nice.
bullshit.
Kiss my
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah, why
I
why
want
don't
to.
you go through the shit that we went through? Why don't you just
Yeah.
fucking
Well-
put up with like weeks of fucking just get through basic training period. Fuck
You,
you.
You know
you
what?
have your fucking emergency back surgery at 28 and have to take the next fucking year trying to walk.
And this is
And,
where.
and take that must be nice and stick it up your fucking ass.
And this is where I'm gonna plug not only my organization but a few others as well. There are organizations, a lot of these organizations have, I guess, what you would call reputations for being the boys club, the old smoke filled room, whatever. But look for VFWs, look for freaking American Legions, look for Elks Lodges, Eagles Lodges. There's different places around the country that have a lot of veterans or veteran-centric, veteran service organizations, VSOs. They're out there. I'm not saying in different parts of the country that all VSOs are created equal, because they're not. I got very, very, very lucky with the one that I got here where I live in Pueblo West, Colorado. I got very, very involved with my VFW, and even with our VFW being open to the public, a lot of the members there have now become my friends. And I hadn't made a friend since I got to Fort Carson. I hadn't made a friend like
Since you
outside
met
of the
me, right?
outside of the Army. I'm saying outside of the Army. I hadn't made any friends
Oh,
since I got here in December of 2014 until I got back from my third tour in Afghanistan in 2018. I mean, I went 4 years in a place with no friends. And it's kind of telling that all it took was me putting myself out there and surrounding myself with people who had a shared experience. It might not be the exact same shared experience, but it was a shared experience. People who had understanding, people who had been there, people who had done that, people who had been there and done that in times and eras that I'm glad I didn't. And there's nothing wrong with being introspective. There's nothing wrong with thinking about the things we've been through. If we don't vent some of that emotion, though, it gets harmful. It gets very harmful. Like I shared with you guys last week that I had to go for some neurological testing this week, and I did. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like it was very trying on me, because some of the tests that they did were really easy. And I did really, really good, like I should, right? Like a regular neurological test, I should do really good, right? And there were other parts where I stumbled, like massively stumbled. I'm talking like it bothered me. I came home and told Nikki, I told my girlfriend, I was like, I feel bad because I messed up. I feel like I should be acing all these tests, right? And it didn't happen. Like I had this lady that was giving me these tests. She's like, in this one test, you're the first person that got every single one of these things right? But then another one of the tests that she gave me, I know for a fact I fucking bombed it hard. Nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with fucking. That's exactly why I'm seeing those people, is because I know something was not right up here. Some wires got crossed. Some plugs got put into the wrong part of the switchboard, and I needed fucking help. And that's why my therapist recommended me for these fucking tests. And now next Wednesday, I'm gonna go back and hear results of the test. And whatever results they are. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I just want to fucking be a good dad. I just want to be a good fucking boyfriend and lover to the woman that loves me. I don't want to be a fucking dick for no reason to somebody that comes up to me on the street. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a fucking asshole for no fucking reason. Like, I'm better.
I think you're a great lover, Jay.
I'm better than that. I know I'm a great lover, right? But not everybody's.
So the guy behind you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he knows you're a great piece of ass. You know how to work it.
Now, before we get into the final thought, I just want to say this redux that we did actually turned out to be really good. Good conversation. before we get to the
Always
final,
is with you guys.
but before we get to the final thought, I just wanted to say I wanted to talk about something real quick, and it all goes in with being in contact with your VFWs and your American Legions. A year ago this week, I had the pleasure of receiving a car from the New Jersey Devils and the captain Kyle Palmieri.
No way, dude. Are you
Yes,
serious?
yeah. So
Why have you never?
some. Do you know what, baby? I know I'm gonna get to that and Geico and all them. We when we do things, we don't talk about the rewards that are given to us. We do things just to do them, and I wouldn't have been able to be a part of the veteran community if it wasn't for so many people. And because of those resources, it all started off with a guy named Frank Doc Shupp. He got me in line with the New Jersey Veterans Network and Michael Bowl, which my wife and I we did lots of events with them. My wife cut hair for homeless veterans and veterans in need, delivering food to homeless veterans, whatever it needed to be. And I was blessed with the opportunity to be the first recipient of the Kyle Palmieri Foundation, which worked with Brenner's Auto Body, which congratulations to Joe on your newborn child last week. Big ups. And Geico, Michael Bowl again, New Jersey Veterans Network, and Mike LeGregney of Veteran Woodco, and so many others. Louis Sanchez, the realtor, Specialist Minogue, and everyone that was there. And I guess I didn't really, I never really kind of like it really sat with me, but having that opportunity to show that there are people who do give a shit, that we all give a shit about each other. We have to be there for each other. And again, I didn't do it for a reward or anything. I'm just grateful that a year ago this week that I was given that opportunity. So thank you to those involved. Yeah, there's a whole video about it too. I'll put the video in the chat so you guys can check it out. But that that's a big momentous event in my life. And what was really special about it is that I was in a very hard place at that time, and every single person that came up to me, was just like, "I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here." It was great. I had to do a speech, and I had my wife bawling on stage. It was, it was a beautiful moment. But my whole point of this, be there for each other. We're literally all we got. I just met a guy at my job who's in the National Guard who has no idea about some of the opportunities that he has coming for him in and out of the military. And he said to me, "We're all we got. We're all we got."
Yeah, it's fucking true. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
Final thought?
Take it, John.
Well, like I just said before, contact your VFWs, your American Legions. If they need anything, or if anyone's in need, knock on their door, give them a phone call. The suicide hotline number. I thought you would think we would have this memorized by now. But yeah, the number is 1-800-273-8255. We understand it's hard, to pick up the phone and call your friends. We know it's hard to call anybody. Give it a shot. Someone is always willing to listen. There's even if you go on the Google website, there's a chat button there. You could chat with someone live on the hotline. Someone's always listening. Look both ways before you cross the street. That's a big thing. Okay, we got to be a little funny here. Okay, we have to be, okay, because sometimes we really fucking don't. But the most important thing, we got a special episode coming up. The most important thing about this is about being there for each other, listening to everyone's truths. You know, keep your ears open. Look for the signs. No, that's all I got. If I'm missing anything, please fill it in.
No, you're good, man.
No, you covered that pretty nicely, man. Thank you very much. And you guys have a great Valentine's commercial Sunday.
Go
Eat
get laid.
lots of chocolate.
Everybody get laid.
Yeah, and
Or you
VD doesn't have to stand for venereal disease. It could stand for Valentine's Day. So
Go
to
get
you,
some VD. Go get some VD.
get some of that VD.
Get a blowjob at least. A handy,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
find a glory hole somewhere if you're alone.
Do what you
Right.
gotta do. Do what you gotta do. We ain't
$10.
judging. We ain't
Hey,
judging.
$5 is $5, bro.
Hey man, we're veterans, dude. We don't judge on that shit. Get some.